I am being told that we are ready for Ape Escape, so let's quit monkey around and get right onto it. Take it away.
Joined by Fast and CC, who may or may not be talking that much. And this is Ape Escape. So let me get back to title screen here, and we'll get going. Okay, are we ready to go? Okay, I'll give a countdown from 3 then. All right, let's start then in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this game is pretty cool. It came out in like the super late 90s and on the PS1, and it was one of the first games that sort of abused the DualShock functionalities. Some of the gimmicks work, some of the gimmicks don't, but it's a pretty cool game. It's a pretty cool speedrun too. All right, so in each of these levels, there's going to be a certain number of monkeys. For example, in this level, there's 4, and I have to catch 3 of them. There we go. Okay, not all levels are going to be this quick, but that's about how it goes in every level. I'm going to be using gadgets throughout. Right now, I only have 2 of them. I have the Stun Club, which knocks monkeys over, and the Time Net, which will then catch them. We'll be getting a lot more throughout the game. I think there's like 8 or 9 of them of varying utility. Okay, so here before this level, we're going to see our first training. Before you actually get access to a gadget, you have to complete the training for it. This one is for the water net, which lets you catch monkeys in the water. You'll see it used here at the end of the training. Okay, so there's, near the start of the game, there's not a whole lot of tech. It sort of ramps up gradually throughout the game as you unlock more gadgets. One of the main things that I'm going to be doing in these early stages is what's called a neutral double jump, where instead of just holding forward the entire time while I'm double jumping, I'm going to sort of let go of the stick right before I make the double jump input, and that sort of preserves your momentum through the double jump and lets you get more horizontal distance out of it. That catch is a little tricky. The ground pound isn't super useful, but there are a couple monkeys that are like just out of your reach. And if you double jump and ground pound, you can catch them sometimes. It's a little finicky sometimes though.
Could I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I will be donating $10 for every backup monkey that he needs to throughout this run. Just throwing that out there.
Cool. All right, so into this third level here. This level can be a little bit random. There is a really important platform cycle that I want to be catching near the start, but there is a jerk monkey before it who may or may not prevent me from doing so. Let's see if he behaves. That should be okay. Yeah, okay, we're all good. Missing that platform costs a fair chunk of time in the early game. And one other piece of tech to mention here. Every time I catch a monkey, you may be noticing I'm doing like a quick swap off of the gadget. Whenever you swing a weapon in this game, the full animation has to play out before you can start moving again. But if you switch off the gadget, switch to anything else, then it cancels the animation. It doesn't save a whole lot of time, maybe like half a second to a second for each monkey. But when you consider we're going to catch like 100 monkeys in this game, it really adds up. Okay. So each area sort of in this game is divided into 3 levels. And you're sort of traveling forward through time from sort of the start of the dinosaur age all the way up to the present day. Yeah, so for the monkey radar training here, this gadget points out the monkeys, which isn't super useful in a speedrun. But optimizing this training is actually a little bit tough. Out of the 6 boxes, you get 3 monkeys in them, and the configuration is random, so you have to be able to read it pretty well. Okay. So we're into a little bit more of like a jungle age here. This level is kind of tough. See how it goes though. So this is one of the biggest levels in the game, I think. There's lots of diversion paths, there's lots of monkeys to catch, lots to explore. How this guy goes. Nope. Okay, so if you jump out of the water at sort of exactly the right angle with the right timing on that guy, you can sort of prevent him from seeing you and catch him before he gets in his UFO. It saves 7 seconds, but it's a little bit finicky. Ooh, some troubles here. There we go, okay. Alright, but yeah, missing that guy isn't a huge deal. Like I said, it costs about 7 seconds. It just means I have to keep going a little bit further into the level here. Okay. Alright. I'm pretty sure that they just took it back in time with them. Yeah. Yeah, because we developed time travel and then the helmets, which made the monkeys super smart, and then they decided to use them to try to take over the world. Okay, so this guy, okay, scary. That guy is super fast, so if you let him get away from you, it's kind of tricky to catch up to him. That's why we start out by crawling there, just to hopefully prevent him from getting away. This level was another one that you have some options for which monkeys to catch. There is one that I'm not going to go for, which is a couple seconds faster, but he's extremely random and not a nice guy, so I'm just going to skip over him now. You'll see him in the background once we get into one of these later rooms. We'll just do the backup instead.
So that's one backup monkey confirmed?
This isn't really a backup monkey, I would say.
My bad.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So there's one other piece of tech that is sort of important in this game that I can mention here. This game actually does have fall damage to it. If you fall too far, you'll lose some health. But if you swing a weapon as you're falling, and like right as you hit the ground, you have the weapon held out, you just negate the fall damage. So that's useful in a lot of different places. Alright, so once the first 5 levels are done, this is where the game really starts to pick up, because now in sort of the next 2 levels, we're going to get access to our bread and butter gadgets, which are the slingshot and the boost hoop. All right, so here comes the slingshot. This one is weird. Like, you might think it's just a slingshot. How broken could it possibly be? It's pretty broken. So the way this works is that the game doesn't really check to see if you're actually on the ground when you pull back the slingshot. It just kind of assumes you are. So if you jump and then pull it back very quickly, you get some standing frames and you can jump again, and then just keep doing that indefinitely. It's not as tricky as it sounds. The window for it is pretty big, but getting the rhythm right can be really tough for people. So my success rate with this has been pretty good recently, so let's see how this goes. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So 2 more quick monkeys here. The developers were kind enough to leave us sort of invisible ceilings that you can jump through and then walk on, which makes a lot of the out-of-bounds possible, which is really nice of them. Okay, so now that we've got the slingshot, actually, there's a quick race here. These races with Jake are totally optional. If you win them, you can get Spectre coins, but you can also just totally skip out on them. Which, since this is any percent, there's no real reason to do them. Okay, so now we're gonna be unlocking the boost hoop. And the boost hoop is essentially just a hula hoop that makes you run really fast. Okay. Oh, okay. That's fine. The out of bounds here saves a couple seconds, but it's not anything like super major. So falling back in isn't the end of the world. All right, so the major tech with the boost hoop is that if you try to just jump out of the hoop, you lose all your forward momentum. But if you cancel the hoop right as you jump, so essentially just press the hoop button again while you jump, then you maintain your forward momentum and you get like a really far forward jump like you saw there. Good. Ah, okay. So the boost jump is great and all, and it gets even better because you can actually combine it with an infinite jump. So you can sort of get the boost to infinite jump that gives you the forward momentum and also the indefinite height. Sort of the bread and butter tech of this game. It's really, really cool. So into Coral Cave here, there's a shark cycle here. You can probably see the monkey on that shark there. Try my best to catch him on a good cycle. Okay. Yeah, that's what it looks like if you don't get the boost jump. You just kind of don't go anywhere. Okay, and then one more. Perfect. All right, so this next level has a pretty big skip in it. My success rate's been off and on with it, but hopefully it goes well. If you're familiar with OOT, this level is essentially Jabu Jabu's belly. There's like a giant dinosaur that you can go inside of, and he has like pirate ships and stuff inside of him that you can platform around on. There he is. Alright, so the way this level is supposed to work is that there is a mid-boss that you're supposed to fight, which gains you access to the rest of the level, essentially, the second half. But that's pretty slow. The mid-boss takes a long time. So I'm going to be attempting to skip it. Let's see how this goes. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so that skip, it's not so hard to do, but it's particularly scary to mess up. Because out of bounds, occasionally there are just bottomless pits that you can fall in. You won't die, and so you kind of just have to exit the level and try again. It would waste about a minute to do it there. Okay, so we'll be moving into Zone 4 here, which is essentially the Ice Age. This is probably my favorite set of levels. The platforming is really fun, the levels are really tight, and there's a couple different routing options, which keep it interesting. This level in particular is based on a mammoth cycle. There's a mammoth who's sort of making a lap around that has a monkey on his back. And I'd like to catch him at an opportune time here. So I'm actually going to be using the other ammo options for the slingshot here. You have regular sort of rocks. You also have explosive rounds, and you also have homing rounds. So I'm going to be using one of each there. The homing round is nice because it's sort of, the monkey actually does have invincibility frames. So if you just sort of spam shots at him, you won't necessarily hit him. But since the homing pellets have to arc, they give time for the invincibility frames to wear off. So here we have the training for the Skyflyer, which is sort of the intended way of gaining height and sort of gliding in this game. Since we have the slingshot, I don't make too much use of it, but there are some spots where it's pretty useful. Okay, so Frosty Retreat here actually has a couple different routes to it. I believe there's 3. One of these, the route that I'm going to do is theoretically the fastest one, but it has a little bit of randomness to it at the start here with these guys. But that's perfect, so great. And then the middle section here, there's some cycles that I would like to catch. There's a nice snowball cycle, and there's also a raising and lowering stair cycle. Okay, there's the snowball. We'll be skipping the stairs on this one. You can see them off to the side there. this room's pretty laggy. Okay, awesome. Yeah, unfortunately this game has a really bad case of like early 90s PS1 hardware, so the draw distance is pretty bad and it lags all over the place. Fortunately, you have pretty good control over the camera, so you always have the option of just not looking at stuff. Alright, so Hot Springs here. This is intended to be a very Skyflyer-centric level. It's very, very vertical. I'm going to be skipping around a fair bit here from what the intended path is. Some momentum there I didn't want. That's okay.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, definitely.
I have $1 from Light Kitty Kara that says, "Hello from the chat. Great run of Ape Escape so far. However, chat has been coming up with some very clever puns. Can I get a $1 donation train for the puns? Here's one Aussie edition. Mate Escape. Good luck on the rest of the run."
Business. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned at all the pants color. You can see the monkeys have different colored jackets in this level. What color the monkeys are wearing determines their behavior. So like yellow monkeys are kind of your standard fare. Light blue monkeys are pretty docile, and monkeys clothed in black with sunglasses on are super aggressive.
I have one more donation here if that's okay.
Go for it, yeah.
I have $25 from Chelney that says, "Can the runner and couch please tell us their favorite monkey?"
Fast, you got a favorite monkey? Me too. Wendy's my favorite. Thanks, Chelney. Alright, so out of the Ice Age, we're into sort of a Shogun Japan medieval style theming here. This first level, Sushi Temple, is actually my favorite because there's a really cool catch here at the start. At the top of these stairs, there's going to be 3 monkeys just sitting together in a group, and they're supposed to all run off in different directions. But if you're quick, you can grab them all. Sort of one net motion. You can try that at home too. It's actually not that hard. You don't even have to boost jump. You can sort of just hoop into the center of them and swing, and you'll probably catch them all. Alright, so this next level is super scary. It's essentially like the Great Wall, so like lots of, big wall motifs. But there's also a lot of pits and a lot of infinite jumping over like long abysses. So if you're not comfortable with chaining infinite jumps together, this is definitely a big game over level for people. It also has maybe the worst room in the game in it. Would be this one. Okay, that went pretty well. Yeah, those monkeys are really fast, and they do whatever they want. If you can't get them all quickly, then They'll run around, they'll jump in the sides, they'll hit the gong, which holds down weights and such. It's just a nightmare when it goes wrong. So this last monkey here, after this guy, is actually a pretty neat thing. This monkey is not supposed to be catchable at the moment. I'm supposed to revisit this stage when I get the RC card. But you can sort of push yourself up against this wall, which forces the slingshot hitbox through it. And since your slingshot's on the other side... Oh gosh. Okay, hang on. And since your slingshot hitbox is on the other side, you can hit the monkey and get him to notice you. Alright, so the next level, Crumbling Castle, is actually our first boss level. There are 3 boss levels in this game where instead of having to catch a certain number of monkeys, you just have to beat the boss to move on. So this is actually the only level in the game where I won't be catching any monkeys. You can sort of out of bounds your way past all the doors, and you don't actually have to catch anything in this level. Hole in the ceiling right here.
Can I interrupt you real quick again?
Yep, go for it.
We have gotten a few donations, and I'll just read out a few. We have $1 from Lori D. Bunnykins that says, trying to get out of geometry class early. Shape escape. We have $10 from Sam that says, shout out from MRR. Another $10 if the streamer tells us his favorite Weezer song about apes.
I'll have to think on that one. I'll get back to you.
Sounds good.
Okay, so hitting that button on the underground opens the boss. So all I have to do is get to the top of the castle. Oh, jeez. Sure to hold down, because otherwise the game drops to single-digit frame rate. Okay, so this boss is actually a little bit silly. You might notice my health bar in the upper left corner. I have 5 hit points, and if you do this boss in the correct way, he only has 4. So this is essentially just a DPS race, which I will win. Yeah, and I'm just intentionally taking damage here to make him vulnerable sooner. Otherwise he chases you around. Okay. Alright, so we're back to the present now. There's 4 more levels left in the present. And these are some of the toughest levels in the game. Not only are the monkeys smarter, there's more of them, there's more enemies. The stage hazards are amped up. Like, this is where the game starts to get a little silly. So one more training here. I'm going to be grabbing the RC card. It's basically just a remote control car. You can use it to press buttons. You can use it to do a couple things. I'm actually going to be using it to catch a monkey in a later level as like a weapon, basically. Because you can blow it up. And it has a pretty big hitbox to it when it blows up. Okay, so at the start of this level is another monkey that I'm not on speaking terms with. This guy, let's see. He'll always walk over to you like that, and you can catch him. But the number of actions he takes before he does that is random. So he can just stand there sneezing for a minute or so if he wants to. Oh, okay. So this sewer part especially here, there's a lot of aggressive monkeys. This guy has a gun. This guy over here is super fast, and then there's one monkey in this next pipe who's just an absolute nightmare. This guy. Oops. Yeah, the monkey himself isn't too bad. It's mostly the purple Pikachu there that's just awful. One more to catch here. Alright, and we're out. Okay, so Spectres Factory here. This level is super tough casually. It's pretty tough in the speedrun too, but I see a lot of people struggle with this one on their blinds. There's a UFO monkey on the other side of this here. Catch him before he gets in. And then there's a monkey who will jump in like this big tank here. So I'm going to stun him with an explosive round to prevent him from doing it. The routing for this stage is also, there's some choices you have. There are some monkeys in mechs that serve as like kind of a little mini boss fight, I guess. And fighting one of them is actually faster in any percent. So I'll be doing that here. I'm going to be using some explosive pellets to save some time because they do a little bit extra damage. You can also get some double hits on these guys if you time things correctly, but the window is not very big. Yeah, okay. And then there's a monkey in a cage here who I'm going to use the RC car to bait out. It's a little bit slower to use the RC car compared to just hitting him with the slingshot and getting him to notice you that way. But using the slingshot on that guy is a little bit finicky. Sometimes he'll notice you and sometimes he won't. Alright, so TV Tower is the next level. This is our second of 3 boss levels. Unfortunately, this time I do actually have to catch some monkeys because there are doors that are blocking my way, and you can't really out of bounds past them. Oh, I need 6 monkeys in this level. I'm also going to be killing some of these enemies here. All of these enemies have a guaranteed drop of 3 explosive rounds, which is really useful for the boss. So I'm going to be filling up off of these guys. If we're lucky, we will see something cool here. Awesome. Okay. So the way that works is that essentially you blow up the RC car, which hits the monkey, and whenever a monkey on handlebars gets hit, they sort of pop up a little bit. And since he's hit with an explosive, he actually pops up a lot, which gives you a pretty wide window to actually catch him through the bars if you switch to the net at the right time. We used to do that with just the regular stun club, which it was frame perfect if you did that, I believe. But one of the top runners, SSBM stuff, messed around with the RC car there, and it actually made it a lot more consistent. Excuse me. Okay, and here we'll get to see the tank. The tank controls in this game are really, really bad. If you've ever played it, you probably know. If you haven't, sort of the left tread of the tank is on the left stick, and the right tread of the tank is on the right stick. So to go forward, you have to push both sticks forward, and it's very unintuitive. Thankfully, we don't have to use it too much in the run. Okay, so there's 6. That opens the boss. And this boss is complicated. I have kind of a unique gadget layout for this boss. So I'm going to position the RC car for something that we'll talk about later. But essentially the first phase of this boss, he flies around, he shoots some rockets at you, and then he's going to land. And whenever he lands, he's going to do 2 attacks. And his attacks are either going to be red or blue. The red attack is the good one. It's a handful of seconds faster than the blue one. I'm not sure on the exact number. But we want to see red here. Okay, that's blue. As far as I know, it's a coin toss. Which one you get, it's 50-50. And you have to toss the coin 4 times. So we're really hoping for some reds. There's one. So after 2 attacks, he opens up. Use the RC car to hit him, and then we'll repeat that cycle one more time. Chance. Okay, that's like completely average. Oh, how did you do that? Alright, so now he's gonna hover around a bit. And he opens up his weak point, he tries to dive at you. This is what the explosive pellets are for. Has 2 more hits left after this. So I'm going to use 1 explosive pellet, and for the 4th one, I'm actually going to use the Skyflyer to hit it. For the 4th hit, you want him to be as close as possible because he has to sort of come in before he explodes. So if you let him get close to you by diving and then hit him, it saves a little bit of time on sort of the end of the fight animation. That's another thing people used to do with the stun club sometimes. But whenever we found that Skyflyer works with it, like pretty much, not everyone, but a lot of people switch to that because you don't really have to time anything. Like the window for it is huge.
I have $1 from Severus Snape that says, I've lost my Polyjuice potion. Snape escape.
Okay, so here's the final level. This level is a giant gauntlet. It's like 9 or 10 minutes long. But it's essentially divided into two halves. In the first half, you're in the carnival, and you have to sort of save your 3 friends who Spectres kidnapped. One of them is in the circus, one of them is in the haunted house / roller coaster, and one of them is in the go-karts. Alright, so the circus one, you're supposed to platform around this cage all the way to the top, but obviously there's no need to do that. Here, there's a clown to fight. This is another spot where the explosive pellets are handy. Okay. So the roller coaster's next, and this is the most unfortunate part of the run. This is a giant auto-scroller. And there's really not much for me to do except jump over the hazards. So if you've got anything you want to read, this is a great time to do it.
I need a quick second.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem.
I would like to read out a few of the rewards. If you donate $10, you have a chance of winning a signed copy of Puyo Puyo Tetris, signed by Cassandra Lee Morris herself. We also have another $10 reward for a signed copy of Destiny 2 on PlayStation 4, signed by Neil Kaplan himself as Dominus Gall. Another one of our prizes, if you donate $75, is the Nintendo Switch Smash Bundle. And for our grand prize, if you donate $100, you have a chance of winning Disney Park tickets in the bundle.
Yeah, this part is super unfortunate. You might think, like, in a game as broken as this, that there's got to be some way that you can, like, skip this or something. But the final level in this game is surprisingly locked up. Like, you can infinite jump all you want, but there's no, like, portals or anything that are just hanging out anywhere. They were pretty thorough with this one. Okay, so here's the haunted house. Alright, and to end the haunted house section, I have to catch 3 of these monkeys here. Okay. That's okay. So if he gets away, it's not a huge deal. You just kind of have to wait. They always come out of the same coffin, though. There we go. Yeah, you can take the roller coaster back, but it's actually faster to exit, and re-enter. Oh, that's weird. Didn't quite get my hoop started. Okay, so here's go-karts. So this boss is kind of weird. Once he's summoning the go-karts, you can sort of hide in the tires in the back here and they can't hit you. And then he's going to charge at me. And you can just win. I think you're supposed to, like, he's supposed to have some iframes or something, so you're supposed to repeat that a couple times, but for whatever reason, you can just kind of keep hitting him and end the fight. So that takes us into the second half. So Spectre's hiding, or Spectre's the bad guy, he's the big boss monkey. He's hiding in this big mansion. So to open the door, we have to turn on the alarm, basically. So when you go in here, there's a monkey in here who will see you and activate the defenses. I don't need to catch him or anything, I just need to let him see me, and then I can leave. So I'm going to take a quick death abuse here. Once he sees me, I'll fall in the hole, and then this will put me back at the start of the ramp. Saves a handful of seconds. And UFOs. UFOs take 3 hits. I will be using the remainder of my homing pellets on this guy. Just fishing for a double hit here. Not quite get it. Oh. Alright, so now, what's intended to happen here is inside this mansion there's like this really long gauntlet of like super hard platforming and obstacles and everything. But unfortunately, the loading zone for the final boss bleeds a little bit into this corner. So just infinite jump up here and go straight to the final boss. Alright, so this first phase, special here. Just gotta hit him 6 times. The second phase, though, is a bit of a doozy. So this boss has 4 different attacks, and he's invulnerable unless he does one of them. And it's completely random what he chooses to do. So I'm looking for a particular attack here. That's the one. The pink laser is what you want to see. The rest of the time, I'm going to be looking at the floor just to prevent the game from lagging. And this is completely random. The only rule that governs this boss is that he can't repeat the same attack twice unless he's missing an arm that he needs to do his chosen attack, in which case he can, because he just skips it. So as you can imagine, this boss is a gigantic nightmare in PB attempts. Okay, so that reveals his weak point, and you have to hit this 3 times. So time is coming up. It's on the 3rd hit. good run. Yeah, so that's Ape Escape. I really love this game. It's one of my favorite speedruns in spite of the final boss. If you want to check it out, there's a Discord for Ape Escape. There's a speedrun.com board that has some great resources on it, speedrun.com/AE1. Yeah, community's great. Would definitely recommend learning the game if you're interested. Check it out. And yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.